As a note, right off the bat, I do want to say that I think it's pretty cool and a really good step that the design team is focusing more on doing just god changes than item and god changes. What this is telling me is that they believe that all the items are in a good spot right now, and that if they focus on the interactions with how the gods use the items, that's how they're going to balance the game. And I think that's a much better design philosophy than doing a bunch of adjustments on items and a bunch of adjustments on the gods at once. I think this slower process that they've been doing, where they're just fine-tuning certain things each week, or like each patch cycle rather, I think that's a much better way to go about it. But let's dive in. Opwash. So they think Opwash is strong, and Opwash is strong. But I do want to stress that Opwash is strong when you have an organized team. Opwash is strong in SBL because they've got a bunch of people who know to peel for the Opwash. That being said, they are reducing the slow on the 1. This is still going to set up for your 1-2 combo. Not a huge deal. You're not going to notice this at all. I actually thought it was 5 seconds before, so that's whatever. So, Cuchulain's getting a cooldown reduction on his ult, and that's nice. It's really nice for laning phase. But the thing about it is, Cuchulain is still going to do very little in the late game team fights, and that's where these solo lane characters, and that's why the Guardians in particular have been shining. The solo lane needs to bring a lot to late game team fights. Right? What makes Sobek, Terra, Geb, all these typical solo laners so good is that they get all this farm, they get all this extra farm. And then they bring these huge team fighting ultimates. Come in, do major damage. Cuchulain now gets to do the same ultimate he's always done every 85 seconds. Spoiler alert, this isn't going to be a huge change late game. And late game is where they need to make this character more relevant if they want to bring him into the meta. In my opinion, something they could have done to make this character better is to just make it a little bit easier for him to transform. What makes this character unique and his biggest strength is the fact that he can transform. They got to use that. Guan Yu. This change isn't relevant. Guan Yu's staying where he is. I like the Hades changes. Bear in mind, this movement speed buff isn't relevant. But what they are doing is they're increasing the protections on his ultimate. Now, there's nothing at level 5. These are the same. But as we move up to the level 9 and so on and so forth, you're gaining additional protections. And do remember, when they do just say protections, that's both magical and physical. At max rank, you're gaining an additional 60 of both protections. That's like a full mantle of Discord. This is going to allow Hades to actually use his ultimate for more than 2 seconds, then literally have to get out of it because he's just going to die. This is a good change. This is increasing a strength of a character. Now, the final change of the day is the Vamana changes. The changes being made here are honestly quite substantial, and in my opinion, they go a little bit too far, right? Vamana's strength is that he can turn into the CC immune giant and run at the back line. These changes on how he's receiving his healing are irrelevant. He's still going to get shut down by Serket, right? But this change, where he can now pass through player-made walls, is really good. One of the best typical counters to Vaughn was Odin. Vamana can now just walk through the cage. So the anti-heal in Odin's cage isn't going to be useful. I do think the shield is neat. It's basically saying like, oh, Serket can take away his healing, but we're still going to make him a little bit tankier. I think that's cool. But the fact that now, when Vamana goes up, you can't Ymir wall away. You can't use your Ymir wall to keep him away from your carries. You can't use an Odin ring to lock him in place. All these things that made this matchup and this character interesting to fight and interesting to play are suddenly taken out. Vamana's going to be strong. I expect to see a fair bit of play from him in the jungle. But yeah, Vaughman's good. And to address the chat here in Twitch, still think Hades won't be used. I don't think he's going to be used as a mage. I don't think he's going to be used as the point blank AoE mage that Hi-Rez thinks he is. I expect we're going to see a lot of Hades from solo lane, because keep in mind, once upon a time, Hades was a guardian. They adjusted some of his stats so that he's more of this burst mage. But Hades from solo lane is going to use these additional protections on the ultimate very well. And that's why I think this Hades change is pretty good. But that is patch 5.23. That's all I really have to say about it.